All right, guys. How you doing there? Ronin Man here, and today we are talking about life, death, and revenge. And we got John from Japan here on the line, although he's not in Japan right now. Hey, John.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh man,
I'm
a lot of stuff going on. Very busy week, man. Very fucking busy week. How's
me
I?
too. Me too. Me too.
Yeah, yeah. This is a bit of a. It's for people that are listening for the first time. There, it's a bit of a extension of the other one. And do you want to talk about that previous one?
Yeah, we were talking about how to deal with death, like death of a significant family member. And
Right.
my father passed away, and how it affected me, or what we weren't sure how it was going to affect me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great that you're willing to go through this and record it because it's so valuable for other guys. I don't know why, but for some reason, anything that's important in life, you're not supposed to record it and you're not supposed to learn anything. That seems to be pervasive. So
Yeah.
like you're any kind of like fight with a girlfriend or wife is supposed to be covered up.
Yeah.
Anytime that you're sad, you're not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Uh, Things that happened, you're not supposed to like say you're at a funeral and the guy was like for example, I've been at funerals where the guy was basically a total asshole or the girl was a total cunt, right?
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to say that, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
basically, you can't really say anything that's true or important, but you can talk about dumb things. That's okay. Like
Yeah.
Kim
Sure.
Kardashian or something.
Just turn on your TV and quickly you can be dumb.
Right, right, right. That's fine. That's totally fine. But you got to watch out. You can't talk about the important things, right? So I appreciate you coming on for this one because especially when you're going through it right now, you just went to the, what do they call that in the States? I can't even think in English. What is it called? The wake, or what is it? The funeral, or what was the
Well,
service called?
it wasn't a wake. It wasn't really a funeral. It was supposed, here's what I don't know what to call it. It wasn't a traditional funeral, that's for sure. It was supposed to be a celebration of life.
Okay.
hmm
Right. Right.
what it was supposed to be ended up being quite a bit different, I think, actually.
Yeah. So how did it go? How did tell them what the video is first? What we're looking at here. I'm going to turn the video on.
Okay. So you're looking down at downtown Vancouver
Okay.
from
Yeah.
from the North Shore Mountains,
Okay.
and that's Grouse Mountain up there. That's a ski hill. There's skiing up there when it gets some snow, and there's tons of trees here, and it's really, really quiet, peaceful.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very pretty. It looks. What's funny is it looks a lot like the Hollywood Hills
Yeah,
where I was last week,
yeah,
and here I'm going to be next week. So it's already.
yeah. That's true, and I'm going to send you a couple more clips later on of just a walk around like you did. Maybe
Oh,
what for further talks, because it's good to walk and talk. I think that's a good therapeutic.
yeah, yeah, for sure. When I made that last one in the hills, I was walking, but it wasn't in the prettiest part. Like there's so many like off the balconies, beautiful trees and everything. So I'm going to shoot that. I'll shoot that one of the next time because the mornings are just the best.
Exactly.
Yeah, just sitting there hearing the birds and looking at the trees and the green, and meanwhile you're in the middle of this huge city. Like with
Yeah,
it's such a nice combo. I really think. I think like it's easy to find nature, right? If you just go to where there's nobody, right? It's easy to find. And then
yeah,
and then it's easy to find a city, right? But when you find the combination where you have choices in life, that's when it gets often that's when it gets expensive, but also that's when you get, like the best of both worlds because you can
yeah, yeah.
a man needs you need variety, right? You need to see this and then you want to see that, right? You want to be in this situation, you want to be in that situation, right? You don't want to be
Right. Like within, uh, I can hop a train and I'm at the airport like within 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Wow.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, is that with no private transportation, just public?
That's just public. Yeah.
Wow, that's super convenient.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing about North America. We got to get our airports and cities wired tight.
Yeah, Shanghai is a piece of cake, and Tokyo too. So easy to
Yeah,
get to the airport.
Europe too, right?
You can time it to the minute in Tokyo. Like you know exactly when you're going to get to the airport. There's no question. Once you
Yeah,
get on one train and you look at the schedules, you know exactly when you're getting there. When you leave my parents' house in Orange County and you
yeah.
go to the airport, you have no idea when you're going to get to the airport. Like you literally, you don't know if you're going to miss your flight on every single trip because there could be a terrible accident and you could just not be able to get there. It's an hour drive when there's no traffic, but if there's a really bad accident, it could be forever. You just don't know. It could be an hour just to get 100 meters if there's like they totally stop traffic, right? Easily.
Well, it's only been the past, I don't know, since the Olympics where they started saying, "Hey, we're supposed to be part of the rest of the world,"
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But before that, when I grew up down here, it wasn't that convenient at all. It was a lot like what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I like the consistency, but either way. So back to the topic. So you're sitting there in your brother's place
Yeah.
and enjoying life. And how was what was it? What was the funeral like? I mean, to be honest, I have not been to a funeral in North America since I was in junior high school. Because
Well,
I've been funerals in China, in Japan, in Indonesia, in
yeah.
Thailand, but I've just never, I've been outside the States for 28 years. I really, simple things like this, I just never, ever been to.
Well, this is my first that I can remember in probably 20 or 30 years. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're in the same league. I think what's happening now, more and more people are going for this celebration of life kind of thing.
Okay. Instead of
That's
like
the
a down
goal.
funeral.
That's the goal, but that's not what ended up with that's not really what ended up. It ended up being sort of a funeral, but like it was amazing. It was just freaking riveting, man. It was the first time I cried too. It took maybe 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, feelings are so unpredictable,
Hmm.
That's, yeah, that's why I really appreciate you sharing. I think everybody does that's listening because, when you lose your father, this is one of I mean, it cannot be overstated. Like the amount of stuff that you go through and the things you learn. I mean, let's face it, if life has any meaning at all, these are the type of things that often are like the most, at least they give the biggest impression in your life, right? So.
Huge, huge, huge. So, well,
The
we
reason,
drove up there, right where the funeral was. I'll just
yeah,
dig into the story right now.
yeah, hit
We
it.
drove up there where the funeral was. Well, and then we got into town, and then it was the following day.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm in Japan, I brought a black tie. You know how they wear black ties at funerals in Japan
I thought they were. Oh, that's right. White ties for weddings,
for
and
weddings.
black
Yeah.
ties for funerals. Right, right.
And then the weird
Oh,
thing about
let me interrupt you because this
yeah.
is a very interesting thing. Actually, is
Mm.
that men wear kind of like a uniform in life. They don't. Like if you look at Japanese guys, I did an episode where I looked at pictures of Japanese train
Yeah.
stations and people going to work, and it was
Mhm.
like a bunch of crows. Everybody had a black suit on,
Yeah.
kind of a wrinkled black suit that they wore every single day, and
Yeah.
black shoes, black belt,
Hmm.
white shirt, and then the
Hmm.
crazy guys had blue shirts,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
green socks, but basically everybody had like a uniform. It's like that book, The Manipulated Man. It's like really like, and the only difference is, and the difference is required. Like you have to wear a white tie in Japan. You got to wear a black suit. Can't be blue. Can't be brown. Can't be green. Can't be your underwear. Can't be a bathing suit. It's got to be a certain type of suit, and then you get a white shirt, and then you wear a white tie, and it's a certain type of white tie. That's a certain type of color. You know what I mean? Like
Basically, it's
American,
no design on it.
no design. It's a very specific. Like when I see anybody with that on in Japan,
Yeah.
it's one of these times in life where you know exactly what's going on. He's going to a
Yeah.
funeral. Like that's it. There's no other possible explanation.
Yeah. You give that guy lots of room.
Yeah. Either the only other option is he could be making a movie. He could be in a movie
Sure.
playing a funeral scene, right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. But it's interesting because if you look at when I showed the pictures of the subways, the women also had, they're quite, there wasn't as much variety as you'd see. say in Harajuku where it's more, people are just having fun. But
yeah.
at the same time, there was a lot more variety. The women had a lot of choices with their clothing, but the guys were really strict, right? What they had to wear. Japanese guys, man, I tell you, I can see why the suicide rate is so high there, by the way. Really. Like just dressing like that every day.
I looked up the stats the other day. It's twice the Canada. So
right.
Suicide's twice as high.
And this is part of the episode today is that people, whenever they see something like a suicide or a murder, they never think like maybe there was a reason why this happened. It's always like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like
he was such a nice guy.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy, and this happened. But like actually, if you look at it from the outside, it's very, very predictable what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you can see the statistics. You can't predict on an individual basis, but you can predict on a statistical analysis of a bell curve of the population, right?
Yeah.
Cross section, right? So okay, so go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
So it's okay. It's good to fill in these blanks because sometimes when we talk, we both sort of assume that there are things that maybe some of the listeners don't know, and it's good to fill in some of those details. So got up there, and then the following day was the at a church, right? It was supposed to be a celebration of life, but it ended up being a funeral, I think, right?
Yeah.
But it was a celebration at the same time, but it was also revenge in there. It was really interesting. Okay, I got to tell you the background is that my dad was he was married twice, or no, once, and then he lived. The last woman he was with, it was common law, right?
Okay.
And then there's my mom, right? So he was involved with 3 women, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of humming and hawing, like having the funeral. I'm not going. The common law woman said she wasn't going, and then she said she was going, and it was back and forth and all this stuff. And then finally she decided to come, and then she wanted to do her own slideshow, her own thing. This is what they do at funerals and celebrations of life. They do a little slideshow. This is the new sort of trend right now.
Okay, the new black. Yeah.
Yeah, the new black, to have a little slideshow of memories, right?
Okay.
And my brother's ex-wife, right? She's still in the family, right? Because they had a kid, so she's in there, and she got this all set up.
Okay.
She found a whole whack of pictures that my dad never showed me.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, and the one big word that my brother we talked about over this whole thing was compromise. My dad compromised so much.
Oh, this was a big topic at the funeral, or at the what do you call it? Yeah,
afterwards, not during, but after, and then also before by my brother. Like my brother's lived he's been there since the beginning, right? I'm the youngest. So.
What compromises came up? Like what compromises did he make in life?
Well, every woman that he was with, besides my mom, he compromised. He put the photos away. We didn't talk about my mom. We had to always walk around on soft, like on hot coals. It was just, Mother's Day was just the other day, and I didn't want to celebrate Mother's Day because I said to my dad, I only got one mom, and she's not here right now. So, I was pretty hardcore. I didn't want to. It was hard for me, the Mother's Days and stuff. But,
wow. Yeah. Sure.
But a whole whack of photos, and then we figured out, like, hey, Dad had a life with his first wife, and for 63 years, right?
Uh-huh.
Not the first wife, but he had 63 years of a life before he met this last one, right? The one that came at the tail end.
Okay.
For all the gravy,
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we're talking about hypergamy here too, right?
Well, the thing is, though, that story of somebody coming in the end is a common story, and it's something that people should be aware of. Like to make sure that justice is served. That people that get you know what I mean, that they get, you know what I mean, they get what the deceased person would want to give. You know what I mean? Like it was, you know what I mean? Obviously,
Right.
it's not always fair because it's the wishes of the person, but
Yeah.
sometimes things can get hijacked, right, by somebody.
Oh yeah. And then also, as they get older and they go off into respite care or hospice or whatever it is, they're taking meds and their will might get changed and bank accounts can get fucked over and that kind of stuff is going on too, eh?
Yeah, sure.
So, but fortunately, that is okay. That's there. There's some of the bank accounts got swept out, but let's see. There was an issue with the house, the property that they last spent time in, and the sale of that property, right? It was, it's supposed to go 50-50 apparently, but there's different executors of the will and all kinds of things involved in here, right? So they asked me, what do you think? And I said, I think she should get nothing.
Right.
So, and my other brother said, there's three of us, right? So my other brother is probably the same. And even other family members say that she should get sued. Other women are saying that she should be sued.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds like she helped herself to some gravy there.
Yeah. So it's really interesting how the other women, like the ones that are quiet and all princely princesses, are right out there saying, no, she should get sued.
Not just nothing, but sued. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, like listening to the story and he talking to you before the podcast, it sounds like that they were right. Like it sounds like actually that was a good. You know what I mean? Like it didn't sound vindictive. It sounded like that was probably the best decision, right?
Now I'm going to tell you one little hiccup in this story.
Okay.
As far as the will and who should get what and all that stuff is there's a lawyer involved in this, and he was supposed to send off a document to say that that how the monies would be divvied up or whatever it was, right? Well, he made a mistake. He made a mistake on it.
Okay.
When he filed the claim with the court.
Yeah.
And so now that common law lady, that woman that my dad was with, she's like, oh great, she's got a gold, she found a lottery ticket, right?
Oh.
But it was an error, it was a mistake, and it's going to be rectified. And even the law society here is on that lawyer's side, like, so she's going to go up against the freaking law society, which is like impossible, right?
She's basically, what is she trying to take? She's trying to take like all the family wealth, or what is she trying to take?
Basically the whole bag, yeah.
All your money.
All the whole thing, right? It basically, that was because the lawyer fucked up, eh?
So all the brothers who, the father would want to give his inheritance to his son.
Yeah.
Right. Is going to be, she wants to usurp all that money.
Yeah.
She came in when he was 63 years old.
Yeah.
And
she met him when he was 63. Yeah.
And then she stays with him till he passes, and she wants to she already cleaned out the bank accounts.
Yeah.
And stole money.
Yeah.
And now she wants the rest. She wants to take the rest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice one, eh? But it's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
Sounds like a real angel there.
Yo, sweetheart. And she wasn't going to come to the funeral, right? She wasn't going to come, right? And she came.
Okay.
And she was like the fucking, it was like the cat, the cat that the dog dragged in, or you know what I mean? It was just like, it was poison. Like nobody talked to her. It was just like, she had the balls to come there, eh?
She probably wanted to keep an eye on her victims, right?
Yeah, sure. And to say that, I have no idea. Insanity.
Probably, I'm guessing her lawyer told her she'd have a better case if she went to the funeral.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, sure. If she didn't show, that would be total. Yeah, that would be a big problem there.
She probably learned that it's better for her to go and pretend like, hey,
Yeah,
I went and I
yeah,
tried, like I
yeah,
was, if she
yeah,
didn't go, it's kind of like, well, wait a second, why are you've already robbed him and now you're going to get everything. His
yeah,
sons will get nothing. Like, what?
yeah, 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 yeah. And then, okay, she's got her own kids, three kids, right? So, and they're older, right? And the son, he's the little pet, right? And then the two daughters, right? So at the end of this all, like the whole production was over with, and everyone's, had their coffee and little snacks or whatever. At the end, they had a group photo of who was there, right? And in a way, I thought it was kind of weird, but you know what? Now I look back on it, no, it's a celebration. Hey, we were here, right? The living, right? Here's the living. And those kids were in the photos, but she walked right straight through that back to her car and waited for her son to drive her away.
Oh, she didn't get in the picture.
No.
That's interesting. That might be, yeah.
Yeah, her conscience is bothering her a bit.
Yeah, she's trying to rob everybody in the picture, right?
Yeah.
She's trying to steal all their money.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is I just want to say, like, listening to this story, it's very sad that it got to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like mistakes were made somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you're trying to win now, right? And you're probably going to win, but it's like, it's sad that it has to be this precarious,
So blatant, you're saying?
Yeah, just blatant, but like, no, but I mean that your situation would be precarious in any way. I mean, I think everybody that's listening, like, if you've never had a family member pass away, you probably think that justice will prevail. See, this is what happens before these kind of situations.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody assumes that things are going to be fine. So, for example, if you're, like, say you're driving and you get pulled over, and then you start getting questioned by the policeman, and you answer the questions freely.
Yeah.
If you're not experienced with the law, if you're not in the legal profession or have any experience, you're going to assume, like, this is one of the biggest problems, is people assume that things are going to be fine. Like, I just tell the truth and I didn't do anything and it'll be fine, right?
Right.
And so they and when the funeral comes, everybody just kind of like assumes that the father, who worked his whole life, and then his three sons are going to get the money. They just nobody would think like, oh wait, someone's going to come in and steal the money. But I know in my family, I know for a fact that the money always disappeared at every funeral.
Really?
In my nobody got anything of any of the funerals that I know of in my family.
Wow.
Every single one. There was one person who got all the money.
Wow.
And there was one that was different, where there was people we didn't know robbed the guy because they were there when he died.
Yeah.
And then he had cash in the house, like he saved all his money in cash. And so the money was gone, and it wasn't somebody in the family. But the other ones were all this particular one person who robbed everybody in the family as they passed, and everybody won't talk about it. Like, she's still like a member of the family.
Oh God.
Like, this is my family. This is the reality. This is what happens. Like, and it's like, no one talks about it. And there's nobody outside. Like, this is not a societal issue. So nobody, it's just this private world of people that are getting older, and people that have their opinions and don't want to look bad, and they don't want the family to, there's a lot of reasons why things don't get talked about,
Yeah.
And there's no justice. There's no prosecutor comes in and says, wait a second, this isn't fair,
Well, that's where I'm 99.9% sure this won't work out that way, because this lady's going up against the Law Society. Like, they got insurance for this, right?
Yeah. And
of this screw up. The lawyer screwed up, so they have insurance. The lawyer's got insurance, and it goes through the Law Society, right? So he's got the whole Law Society on his back, and he's looking like shit, the lawyer, but it's going to be rectified. And the bomb's going to drop tomorrow, which will be really beautiful.
Oh gosh, that I can't not wait to hear that, because it's just sad that it has to go to this precarious. Like, I think that's what people need to understand when they start to, when this is one of Guy's biggest problems. It really is. It truly is, John. Is
Yep.
that every guy thinks things are going to work out fine.
Yep.
Guys are basically optimistic. And
Yeah.
so they say, hey, I'm going to, meet a nice girl. It's going to be fine, right? You know what I mean? I'm going to do this. It's going to be fine. There's going to be a funeral, and then everything will be fine. Like,
yeah, they'll follow the will and everything will be fine.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some bumps in the road, people aren't perfect, but basically like, the system is basically set up. We're a system of laws,
Yeah.
Like you can't
trust. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, they look at things when they buy something and get their money back from the Walmart or something, right? But the thing is, when it comes to these kind of things, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to inheritance and things like this is a totally different thing. This is a totally different thing. And it's like, I don't think that I'd love to have like a inheritance lawyer on the podcast just to talk about specific cases, because in the overall trend of what happens in funerals, because I've never heard this talked about, and nobody wants to talk about their own family. So everybody wants to know about, other people, but nobody wants to give the juicy details of who it is. And even me, who is saying that somebody robbed our family many times, I'm not saying the name of the person, because I know that somebody else is going to be offended and somebody's going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's this secret pain. It's this private pain. Now, to me, it wasn't pain, because I wouldn't have got the money. My parents would have, which actually hurt me in the end. But I don't know. It's just like the weirdest thing, how it's like whoever is willing to be the most evil wins in most of these circumstances, because the other people are grieving. They're in pain.
Yeah.
And if someone is like fully sadistic and evil and does not care and is willing to disrupt the funeral, to you know what I mean? To even drive people in their deathbeds to death, like of worry and anger, if people are willing to break up families and stuff, if they're willing to go that far, they can win on this one, because you're just dealing with other human beings that are in grieving and not in a good state. Right. It's kind of like it's like attacking a weak clan or something, right? You're attacking
exactly. Yeah. You're getting people at their most vulnerable moment.
Yeah. It's like often when you attack in a war, you attack on Christmas, you attack on a holiday,
nighttime.
You attack when they're weak, right? And this is the kind of situation, is like, by definition, people are having a hard time when there's a funeral, when there's it's not just the grieving, because you might not even care about the person in many cases, but it's the complications, it's the legal process, it's the time out of your schedule, it's the difficulty, it's all the contracts. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, even if you are not really, just handling it for your wife or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like,
well, I know that here's the thing, like, on my family, right? My direct family, there's a lot of heavy hitters in my family. Like, we're talking in positions of very serious power that can, and our network is pretty good, right?
right.
So this is just an average, woman. This isn't even a woman of stature,
Right.
Now,
This is not a
now
kid.
imagine if she was taking on just a regular guy, a working class. Like, if my father didn't have sons and the network that is there, he would have been cleaned out, crisp, like gone, like there'd be no room for nothing, right?
Right. It's not just power, it's also intelligence. I mean, you guys are, your brothers, I know of your brothers for many, many years, and I know what they do. And I know these guys are very, very, very sharp, and also very reliable and very respected, right? Pretty much the peak of like professional career, right?
Yeah.
And they're not old, they're not like, losing it. They're like in the power.
But one woman who, just an average woman, can get 10 people working very, it's amazing the shitstorm that one woman can cause,
Right. And someone who came in at the end of his life too, I mean, like any logical, rational person would say, wait a second, this man was 63 years old. He's got, 3 sons that are like older and,
Yeah.
it's like these.
Well, they met when he was 63. Okay. Now he lived to 83, almost 84. Right. So
Yeah.
just the tail end. So there was a whole bunch of stuff that was buried that I didn't get to see,
Right.
he didn't
It all
talk
comes
about.
out in the funeral, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a slideshow, and then most of it, like it was perfect. So, it was 80% of it was that previous life. Right.
Of
And
course. Yeah.
and it was beautiful because like some of the songs that I requested, they were played. That Neil Young song, the one I mentioned to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also I wanted bagpipes at the end. I wanted.
Oh man, I wish you would have told me. I got a friend in Canada who plays bagpipes.
Yeah.
He's really good too.
Yeah, so they play. Well, I could. Yeah, well, maybe another time. But it was all in this production, right? It was all on big wide screens in this church, right? And it was
Right.
really really cool. And my dad was really cool. He looked cool in his prime, and it was really awesome. And then the last for like a whole full minute was my mom and my dad on their wedding day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she
He
that
loved her, right? So, it's like, that's a cool thing. Yeah.
for a whole like more than a minute, but it felt like 10. It felt like 10 minutes, right? And
Yeah.
that
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and that dragon lady was there, and she had to watch that.
Oh, the thing is though, is, I think you underestimate how evil people can, like she
Yeah.
probably like that I bet that meant nothing to her at all. She was
Okay.
only thinking about,
Yeah. Appearance.
how it could complicate her case,
Yeah.
when the next 100,000, five hundred
Yeah.
thousand, million
Yeah.
dollars is coming
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
how long she needs to stay here,
Yeah.
the appearance she wants to keep for the
Yeah.
case, like
Yeah.
I guarantee you she was not tearing her hair out like, oh my gosh, he didn't love me. she
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting sentimental here.
No, but see, the thing is, I want to point that out because it's like,
Yeah.
it's because that's how you guys felt, like, oh my God, she's paying the price. And I think this is a common thing that people do, is they say, you know what, I didn't do that because I want to sleep at night, right? But the truth is, the very hard, cold truth is that people that commit crimes and do things that are wrong sleep just fine. There's no, yeah. I get tired of hearing that because I've never heard of any scientific study that has
Sleep
said,
deprivation.
yeah, the people that do these things actually don't sleep, like they actually have problems. No, they don't. That's the thing, is it's all in people's minds. It's a way to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh well, he did that, but now he's paying the price, right?
Yeah, I deserved it, right?
And so he's paying the price. He can't sleep. But the thing is, what I always say, and what I said in one of my episodes in Thailand, was revenge.
Yeah.
Getting revenge is the best thing you can do for your
Clan.
for your state of mind.
Yeah.
For in this case, for the group, for the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like pure revenge is really underestimated
It's coming. It's coming tomorrow.
as an effective tool for self fulfillment and happiness. When
Mm-hmm.
someone does something wrong, it's important to get revenge because
Mm-hmm.
you secretly know that you pussed out. You know what I mean? Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, they write it off as, oh, he can't sleep, he's getting revenge by society, or someone's going to kill that guy, or whatever. But he won't enjoy his money or whatever they say. But the reality is, in my mind, and this is Ronin Man, like for real.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody fucks me over, I get revenge,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very important for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it just randomly. I'm not going to just go out getting revenge. And also, I do always weigh the fact of how much it's going to bother me, like how much time it's going to take and how much risk it's going to be. But all that being said, of course, that's taken into consideration. But in the end, the basic fact remains that when you get revenge, it makes you feel better because you did something. You didn't just sit
Well,
there and get pushed over.
I think it's justice.
Justice, revenge, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's what justice is. Justice is revenge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. It's fucking revenge. The guy goes to prison.
Yeah.
You can see that he's very unhappy and
Mm-hmm.
he's not free, and then you get your revenge. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
society wants to dust it up with some pretty names or whatever.
Call it justice, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fairness or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's just revenge.
Yeah.
And again, it's normal and it's natural and it's good because if you don't get revenge, in other words, the studies they've done, this is very interesting, of clans in Africa who don't discipline and get revenge on their members. Let's say for example, there's one member of the tribe who instead of gathering nuts or hunting or whatever, they just kind of hide. You know, they just go hang out or whatever. And then they come back and eat the food from the group. And then they go out and hang out again. And they avoid that dangerous confrontation with the animal or whatever. They come back and eat when the other guys do it. The tribes that allow that to happen, the whole tribes fall apart. The whole tribe loses unity because part of the clan, a part of the whole thing is the cohesiveness is that we're all doing this. And if you don't get revenge on that guy, one, he won't change. Right? Because he'll just keep there'll be more and more people doing that. And the clan loses its power and gets killed by another clan or taken over or they lose it or whatever. They're subservient to some other clan because the clans that discipline members and get revenge on members for doing things that are wrong, those are the clans that survive and those are the companies that survive and those are the families that survive. So getting revenge is not like, oh, I'm going to go get revenge because as a spite. It's part of the way that society works. And that, and also when you are that person who is not pulling his weight, like when I was in high school and I'd be sleeping in, I wouldn't be helping the family. You know what I mean? My dad would do something, come and do something. Right. And I was pissed off, but also I said, I would go and help. Right.
Yeah.
I was like, the pain was too much. I'd go help. And then it was good for me too, because I learned that I couldn't do that. It wasn't acceptable in my family. You can't live off everybody else. You got to fucking go do shit, You
got to pull your weight. Yeah.
You got to pull your weight, or there's going to be payback, and it's not going to be fun. Yeah. And so that is also good for the other person too. So revenge is good for the person getting revenged against, because they're learning. They're learning that some people will not take it. Some people will not say.
And there's repercussions for what you do.
That's right. There's repercussions, and so that is what keeps society in line. It's what keeps us in line, and it's what keeps the groups coming together. So it sounds like your brothers and you are going to have. I mean, I really hope tomorrow is the big day, and it just goes like slam bam like you think.
The good thing is, like, my brother could probably handle this whole thing professionally.
Yeah,
but he's put it outside of his hands purposely. But he knows the guy who's in charge. And then he knows who's above that, and it's like he couldn't really find better people. Like he just couldn't go any higher for this thing. It's not just a typical legal issue. This is like dealing with a on a professional scale. We got the best people in charge of this whole thing, and one little pissant is not going to be able to take on this. Decision that's going to be made tomorrow, and shit's going to fly.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to hear that. Hey dude, can you see the screen? I got to share the gift that your brother got.
Yeah, that was given to him by the Inuit for doing well on a court case. So that's a wolf. That's an Arctic wolf.
So the Inuits, they give stuffed Arctic wolf furs as a present, as a thank you.
Yeah,
it's the culture.
Yeah. That's what they do. So now the tree huggers and all the rest of them probably would say something about that, but that would be that would offend them if you didn't take the gift, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it really means a lot to them.
This is an old tradition, right? It's an old.
Yeah. And you can see it's the whole wolf there with the legs and the head.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful,
Oh yeah, I bet that thing's warm too.
Well, it sits at the foot of his bed, so it's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay.
But I hope that you can sort of figure out, put together the pieces. I'm really trying to keep everything anonymous here too, right?
Sure. Sure.
But I hope that people can figure out the pieces, and don't underestimate the power of one person to fuck over a whole bunch.
Right. Right. So I guess that your advice on the funeral thing, if you could do it again, what would you tell your dad, or what would you have done in the past?
Well, my dad was full of compromise. I think that if I gave him shit about some things like that. I said, why do you, choose this kind of woman, that kind of thing. I did say that in the past, right?
Yeah.
He was very codependent. That's the bottom line. He was very codependent.
But let's just say specific things that you could have done to make what could you have done, or what would you have done?
Okay, first of all, this should have been checked.
Like what did you learn from this whole experience so that guys?
Okay, if there's a will, it's got to be the will needs to be. It needs to say exactly what it's. Once the will is in with the executor, it's got to. It has to be legally. You got to check that it's all legally what it says it's going to say. You know what I mean?
So would you have gone back to your dad and said, "Show me the will," or what would you have done? What could you have done?
Yeah, probably.
Because I've
Yeah,
never seen my parents' will. Like I assume that what it is, but I feel
because
like,
wills. The thing about wills is they're updated and changed over time, right?
right.
And if there's a significant other,
Yeah.
that person can also be in the background trying to adjust things when their husband is under medication, or dementia, or whatever the hell it is, right?
Yeah.
So that needs to be, I don't know how the heck that's done, but you got to make sure you're not getting fucked over by that new lady who's in town.
Right. So I think with funerals, there's always going to be some scumbag trying to get the money, because there's a lot of money
Oh
to
yeah, and
be had.
there's another. Okay, then we got talking about this, and all kinds of stuff comes out of the woodwork. Stuff that, like, oh my God, families that you thought that were saints. They've
Yeah.
got some drug addict or some kind of fuck up in there or something. It's just different stuff, right? But there's one other a relative that passed away, and that family too. There's one sibling that's taking the other ones to court over the will.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So even siblings can fight with each other too, right?
Right. Right. And that's something you would never, ever.
No.
So part of me says I don't even want to think about this kind of stuff, and I think this is what most people do, is they don't even want to think about it, because they're like, I don't want to. You don't want to accuse your brother or sister of doing something before they do it, because then you ruin the relationship for no reason. So what can you do? Like, what can a person do? Like, what is the mindset that? What did you learn, John? What would you do if you could do it again, or what advice would you have for people? Obviously,
I think
we're not lawyers, but we're just kind of like, what do you do in these complex families?
well, I think that is there any clause in there where things can be changed or manipulated after the person's dead? That would be important to me to know. I would want to know while they're alive and still have same mind, and that it is what they say they want done, and it's not changed or can be changed. Is there any possibility that it can be manipulated?
So is the contract written such that after
Yeah,
he dies?
yeah.
I didn't even know that was a possibility. I thought.
And also, is the contract what they said? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's another thing. But I thought that the point of a will is like, it's like locking a door. Like, you write down what you want, and then after you die, that gets executed. That's simple as that. That's what I thought.
Well, I don't know specifics, but what fucked this up was the one of the documents that was sent off to the court was not what was discussed. It wasn't updated. They didn't check it. It should have been checked before it was sent off to the court. So that was the lawyer's mistake.
Now that was a document that updated the will, or what was the document?
Yeah. That was a document for, I'm not sure if it was the will or it was the trust, how the monies would be dispersed or that kind of thing.
Okay, so there's other documents. There's trust.
Yeah. So
I don't know anything about this stuff. So
yeah, well, hey, there's a start. Find out learn about how this stuff gets played out, and legally, when the documents are sent off to the court, that they say what they're going to say. Don't assume that.
Right.
Don't assume what verbally was said. Was that put on paper? You know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of assumptions that people have, and there's just a lot of unknowns. Like for example, I know one thing I've heard many times is that if let's say there's several siblings, right? And let's say that one of them is very rich. The other siblings will assume that the rich one won't take their share.
Yeah.
They're going to assume that they're going to say, hey, that, you guys split it up. It's fine.
Yeah. It's chicken feed.
I got plenty of money. It's not a problem. But the thing is that is a very dangerous assumption. Any of these assumptions is really dangerous,
Yeah.
So it's like, and I think a lot of people, the main thing to think about in life is to basically be a success, and on your own, and to do your thing, and don't rely on anything else, including any kind of insurance or Medicare or inheritance or anything. I think that goes without saying, that the number one thing, you are the cause of your success or failure.
Yeah. Okay.
And losing something that is like a bonus or is part of some government program or whatever, I don't think that's that is what people blame for their own success or failure, right? I'm not saying success is everything. Some people don't care. Like there's a lot of like very people I love, authors that didn't have any money at all, in their life, and then I look at them as just absolute, geniuses, greatness, So right. There is different definitions, and everybody has their own definition. But in the end, what you make of yourself and what you get in life is a result of your effort and a result of course, luck too. But it's like to put too much emphasis on one thing like inheritance is almost poison, because it sets you up to not reach your potential because you think you're going to get this inheritance, right?
Yeah.
And then if you don't get it, and it's very insidious too. It's very easy to do this. It's especially, I imagine a very wealthy kid would just almost 99% would do this, is just to figure, well, I'm going to get $100 million when I die. So what's the difference, right?
Yeah. I'll just be lazy.
Yeah, just be lazy. But then if somebody takes it, then it's like, you wasted the opportunity to earn, So I think that it's important to say that you are the determinant of your success, and then no one episode should determine your success.
Yeah.
You should.
However, I'd like to add a thing to that. I fully agree with you what you say. But never assume that things, like you said before, never assume that things are going to work out because of trust. And, I never thought that person would do that. Never assume.
But how can you, okay, let's just be like, boom, I want to say like, because this is my problem too, is that, like I just said, like, okay, so for example, let's just say I said, I'm not going to assume anything, right? So then I would assume that my brothers and sisters could take my inheritance, right? Let's just say I did that, right?
Yeah.
But I would be like ruining a great relationship with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By like I have a good relationship with my siblings, right?
Yeah, okay.
So and there is no sign they're going to do anything. You know what I mean? There's nothing. So if I didn't assume that they're going to be nice, then I would go and do something that would cut them off from doing something evil, right?
Yeah.
But just me cutting them off,
Yeah.
would cause them
To be evil. Yeah.
it would cause the relationship to fall at the very least,
Sure.
and maybe to be evil. It would be like if I walked out, to get a newspaper at my brother's house or something. He locked the door and said, "Look, I just don't want you around just in case you might, steal. I have a thing of change on the drawer,
Yeah.
Now you're ready to go anyway, so just go,
Yeah.
I would be like, devastated, right? Like what the hell,
Yeah.
So where do you think the line is? Because it's easy to say platitudes.
It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. Like, think about it. When you're with somebody who's living and you're talking about after they're not living, it's not a very comfortable topic, really. Not with everybody.
That's the other thing. Parents get very uncomfortable when their kids start talking about inheritance.
Yeah.
They get very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they're waiting for me to die.
Yeah.
So what have you?
I recommend that most parents just give it all away while they're living.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean give it all away? You mean like die with nothing?
Why not? Well, yeah. I mean, not die with nothing, but not die with a whole bunch. Give most of it away while they're alive.
Yeah, but what if they need it?
This is true. This is true.
What if they suddenly need it,
Yes, this is true. I don't know. It's complicated. It is a very complicated topic, this one.
No, but this is good. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like that's what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
Life is difficult, right? Life is complex. We might not have an answer, to everything. But listening, a lot of people are very smart guys are listening to this podcast, and they're going to put in their input. In my experience, this happened, and here's what my mistake was. I think we're going to get a lot of good comments on this one because, like I said, there's a lot of cool guys who are smart and have experience and are very willing to help and share. So we don't have to have all the answers to everyone, but that's the fucking difficult thing, right? This is no wonder it's like this. Everybody's hush hush, walking on eggshells, and then somebody comes in, and then says, "Hey, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just going to steal as much money as I can from these guys. I don't care if they're sick and need money. I don't care if they deserve it. I don't care if he likes me. I don't care if I get sued. I don't care if it causes everybody stress that it kills people in their hospital beds. I just don't care. I'm going to get the money." That type of person has a very strong position in this type of scenario.
Oh, yeah.
How do you protect against that? Obviously not getting married would be good.
No, but this was a common law situation.
Well, that's the thing. Common law is another way. Basically, like guys don't want to get married, so they don't get married. And then the state forces them to legally be married, even if they didn't get married.
Right.
To cause these problems. It's like you can't win for losing,
One of the relatives said it would have been better if he was married. I don't know quite what he meant by that, but.
Oh, wow. Well, I found out in China that if you live with a girl for over 30 days, that's common law wife.
Here, I think it's like 3 months.
Wow.
I don't know. It depends on your state or province or whatever, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of thing, again, that people don't, nobody finds out, but it's extremely, extremely serious.
Yeah.
And especially if you're wealthy, because if somebody is the type of person who does not care, again, is very strategic and understands the law. Like, for example, a girl could go move in with a guy and live with him for 3 months and 1 day.
Yeah.
3
months. Okay.
Yeah. 3 months and 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay.
She's his common law wife, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the private agreement with him and her might literally have been, like literally could be like, hey, I know you're having trouble getting through law school. Like, why are you paying rent? I have this extra room. They could even not even have been lovers. The guy could just let her live there, and then she could claim common law wife.
Oh,
because that's her address for 3 months.
Yeah. 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 Her toothbrush was there.
Yeah, unless there's proof from somebody that he told, or somebody, there's something written down or something like that. The guy's in a very weak position because common law wife is a certain period of time, right? So like there's all of these things, and when you do have money, you have to think about all these things, But it's sad because the people that are optimistic don't want to think about these things. Like I personally am optimistic. I don't want to think about these things.
Or even bring it up. Do you feel like calling up your parents or dropping in and say, hey, let's talk about this? I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't want to talk about their will. I'm probably going to see them pretty soon because I'm going out to Hollywood to shoot Unblackmailable on Wednesday.
Right.
And I'll be out in California, and we're probably going to stop by my parents' house. But I think even my mom mentioned one time like that somebody was just sitting around waiting for their parents to die. So I think she was kind of being sensitive about it, like, and I was like, whoa, I wasn't even like, where did that come from? Like I was like, oh man, I guess, you must think about that, right? It must be something that would come up, right?
Yeah.
Just like a guy who's married, he would worry that his, girlfriend or wife would take his money because it happens to so many guys, right? So people get sensitive, right? People get worried, and then they kind of create their own problems. Because when my mom said that, I was like, whoa, what the fuck, like what the fuck are you talking about? Like I could not even relate at all,
My favorite is, I can't believe she did that.
Yeah. So it's what are the situations we're talking about that are like this? One of them is divorce.
Yeah.
The other one is marriage in general.
Yeah. Common
law wife, which is another one, which is a forced marriage. It's kind of like a shotgun marriage.
Yeah.
By the state.
Yeah.
It's almost like, like common law wife or marriage. It's kind of like if I walk around Walmart with like, say, things in my cart, and then they say, well, you bought those. I haven't gone through the checkout yet. Well, but you have to pay for them.
You've had them for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah. They've been in your cart. They're yours, right? It's like, well, wait a second. Until I leave, I decide what I'm going to buy, right?
No, you've purchased them.
Right? You own these fucking things. I don't have any wisdom on this one.
Well, and then common law also depends on where you live. Like it could be 3 months one place, it could be 30 days in another.
I just thought of something. I do have some wisdom on this one.
Okay.
I think one thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, but there's been studies of guys or doctors that get sued for malpractice.
Oh.
Okay. And what is very interesting is that if a doctor is liked by a patient, there's almost no chance that they're going to get sued for malpractice.
Okay.
Even if they make a mistake. So, for example, let's say that I go to the doctor and he fixes my knee and he messes it up, but I really like the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very unhappy about my knee. Now, I've never sued anybody in my life, so this is not me. But I mean, let's just say somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they would say, well, I'm unhappy, but so I'm going to sue the insurance company. I'm going to sue the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm going to sue the city or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they won't sue the doctor if they like the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's proven. So they will sue everybody else. So doctors that are liked by their patients have much lower malpractice suits.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the one thing that you can do in any situation like this is to have good people skills. Because, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win, right? It doesn't make you a winner. It doesn't mean that someone's not going to pull something on you. and be evil, and there's not the contract's not going to be written wrong, and the lawyer is not going to make a mistake. None of that all is all variables that can happen. But if you are, you know what I mean, if people like you and you're trying to give back and you're a good person, now the evil person will not. Okay, the evil person, so let's just break this down. So the evil person, that like the bank robber, doesn't care, right? He's going to come in, she's going to come in and just rob the place, shoot everybody, right? If they have to. But it's the other people that matter. So the other people do matter. Like your brother matters, your brothers matter, and their wives matter, and everybody like to support. So if you're well liked and if you're a leader and you're helping, then I think that you are statistically definitely going to have a better chance of doing well in situations like this. And so I think for guys listening is like, it's not a funeral, a divorce. It's not a time to let your guard down.
Yeah.
You want to put on, you want to be good. You want to make sure.
Well, that I was coached too before I went, like, don't talk to these people. Don't do nothing. Just, I was told, don't open your mouth,
Oh, okay. So don't make a mistake on this. Don't do this. Okay. Yeah, that's good too. But I mean, I'm just talking about generally treating people well and being a good person in general.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like when you're seen as like a good, helpful person in the community, in the group, there's more likely people are going to share information with you. Yeah. Because they trust you. If they see you as a black box that understands how to protect private information, if they see you as a chatterbox who has no control of their mouth, then they're going to be very unlikely to tell you some secrets that can help you, but can't be shared publicly.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Right. So being, having your shit together and being a good person is the one thing you can do that increases your chance of success in these complex human situations. Right.
Yeah. Like this situation I'm talking about that I just shared with you. I don't know if I can handle that by myself. Like this is some high level skills here. This is some pretty high level stuff.
And I was just going to say is like also it's not just at the funeral, right? Yeah. It's the relationship that you built with your brothers over all these years.
Sure.
It's not just he's being nice at the funeral. That's then he is a good guy. No, it's like you create your own destiny when it comes to people. In many ways.
And this is why it's important to circle the wagons, every once in a while.
What do you mean?
To regroup. You need the help of others.
Right. I think that's one thing that guys in MGTOW movement don't understand is that you can't go your own way. You can't go. No individual goes their own way. Like
you don't live off the grid and have a solar panel and just shut off from society. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, even then, someone made the solar panel. Like you are reliant on other people. Yeah. And you're relying on other things outside yourself, and your people skills are very, very important. And I think that's one thing that I think is a very, 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 very big common error and mistake is to think that you can go on your own. You can say whatever you want. There's one guy who I actually like his channel, but he's always drinking and he just says what he wants. The thing is a lot of these guys that said what they wanted and did what they wanted, they ended up having some trouble with other things, right? Maybe, the channel was shut down or something, right? Is because other people are involved, right? So I think that you want to in life, I think the balance is that you're a mature man. 2, that you understand yourself. 3, that you understand people, right? And then you're consistent, and then you keep improving yourself, and then you have something to offer other people, so they want you around, right? You have to be a person that people want to have around. Like you bring things to people. You know what I mean? Like having you around makes life better.
Value.
Yeah, you have value somehow. Like Some people, when they come to your house, they're just take.
Yeah.
They don't provide any value, and then you don't want them back.
Right.
So I think one of the things that you can do to have a good life is to realize that it all matters. It all matters. How you treat people, how you act, the things that you learn, the things that you incorporate, the mistakes that you make and what you learn from them. Because people also watch you, right? You might make a mistake, but then they watch you learn from it and they watch you change. And that really captures them as like, wow, this guy's a good guy. You know what I mean? He made that mistake, but I saw him turn it around, admit he was wrong. The same mistake can mean totally different results, right?
Right.
It's not about not making mistakes.
That's having grit and determination.
Yeah, and like having self-honesty, too.
Mm-hmm.
People see that and they say, okay, a guy who could do that, I guess subconsciously they say, I can trust him.
Mm-hmm.
I can trust him in my inner circle because this person's not going to break down. He's not going to freak out. He's not going to steal. He's not going to, you know what I mean? He's robust. He has a self-concept, and he is at a deep level trying to be a good person. And, I've seen him, that's all these things combined to make you say, you know what? I trust this guy, I want him around. He is a good force. And even if they do something very destructive, it doesn't bother you. Because
that's why that's, again, is another way of saying maybe a person's character is very important. Don't you think?
I don't like these words because I don't know what they mean, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. There's a word that people use.
Not personality. Like they could have a bad personality, but in their character, the way they carry themselves.
Right.
That's critical.
Improving yourself and being in not falling into, whenever I watch something where I'm doing a lot of self-analysis and admitting I'm wrong, it always feels like I'm the dumbest guy in the world for doing this. Like, you know what I mean? Like admitting you're jealous, admitting that you're envious, admitting that you're petty, admitting that you're wrong, admitting that you didn't do something because of the reason you told people actually was another very weak, retarded reason, right? Like doing that always feels wrong, but then afterwards, I think every time I come out of something like that, doing a personal inventory, I always come out of it and I'm like, I can see other people like quickly after I get honest with myself. It's very easy for me to see other people who haven't done that. It becomes super obvious because now I can see myself. Now I understand. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, I can see where they're at. Okay, fine. But at least I can see it because now I've done it myself. Right. I'm working on, I want to do the past, present, and future authoring series, Jordan Peterson series. And like, that is like deep self-analysis. And it seems like very superior to a lot of inventories that you get in 12-step programs and things like that. It's much, it's much deeper and like more relevant.
Nice.
I think there's steps of things. I would say things that changed my life the most, probably my inventory, things like that affected my life more, but there are better tools now that are more. Then I want to do the Jordan Peterson present, past, and future authoring program to get another level of understanding of myself and also to catch myself when I'm doing something fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because the brain fills in the blanks. That's another thing I noticed at this funeral is no, that's not the way it was. I heard the relatives doing that all the time. This is what happened.
Right.
The house didn't have 3 rooms. It had 2, Yeah. Shitloads of that. This is how it really happened. This is what really went down. Lots of eye-opening stuff.
Fantastic opportunity to see things that happen around you in your own history in a new light, that you can get a grip on it and understand yourself better and also learn these hard lessons. Because if you don't learn them now, like when your father passes and the family comes together, if you don't learn things at this point, honestly, when are you going to learn things? Like when is the opportunity going to come to get insight into yourself and your past and yourself? Like it's not going to happen in Starbucks,
No.
It's not going to happen reading a blog post or watching a video. You know.
No. These painful things are important, hey? To go through the pain.
They're a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, part of the reason I'm thinking about this stuff too, because I'm realizing, like, I've been doing Ronin Man now. You're doing all these podcasts. I don't know how many are out there now, 120, something like that, and a lot of content there. And I realized that it's time for me to separate the two types of listeners. One of them is the one who gets a lot of value watching the YouTube videos, and also to go in deeper with guys who really want deeper help. You know, who one comment on YouTube is not enough for them. They want more, you know? And also I realize I owe people that have found me who need more help. You know, I owe it to offer to them. And I also want to go in deeper with those people too, so that we can go beyond the pale, beyond the surface, right? So that's why I'm doing I'm recording Unblackmailable this week, and I'm going to start selling the course along with a members area where everybody can talk and share very, very honest stuff. And the thing is, the other thing I realized too is that I owe it to myself to start charging for stuff. You know, it like, and also to the other people that are around me. You know, it's like something that it's easy for me I really enjoy giving value. I really do. I love, you know me, right? I love volunteering. I love helping, but there's a point where I got to say, hey, I got to take care of myself too. You know, it's like,
that's important. I mean, we live in a society where you need to have funds, you know. It's not all about give and take all the time. As far as you know, you got to be able to have funds to pay for stuff, you know, like updating your equipment and food and you know. The basics, you know, like maybe a Patreon or something maybe good, eh? Do you got one of those?
Well, I have a Patreon account, but I never push it, you know, and of course people don't respond if you don't push them. And I don't want to push people. I never wanted to have a begging channel.
Okay.
I don't like that model that much, at least for me.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not putting down anybody who does that model. Like, one of my guys I respect a lot is Jordan Peterson. He makes like $70,000 a month on Patreon.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
A lot of people get value from that guy and they give him money. And I think that's great. It's just like everybody's got their own flavor for things they like, you know? You know, and for me, I feel like I really want to give value before I ask for money. You know what I mean? Like, I really want to fucking like change people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not just they watch the YouTube video, they have a lot of money, so they give me some money. No. I'd much rather have something where I'm accountable, they're accountable. We're both in deep, you know? And we're both like, we're going deep, because improving your life is like every aspect, right? It's your physical, it's your mental, it's your financial. It's the habits that you have, right? It's your health, it's your body. It's the way you think about things and the way you set your life up, the structure of your daily life, and also the structure of the way things are. They determine how much free time you have, how meaningful your life is, and they're important, right? They require, but all of these things require thinking. They require discipline. They require knowledge. And it's specific to one person, right? So it's something that that's the kind of the stage that I'm at now. And I'm going to start to put right now. I'm going to start to do less YouTube comments, because right now I really think about every comment I put on there. You know, like I read everything. I'm one of these YouTube creators, very rare. I go through each comment. You know, I really think about, and I rewrite. Sometimes I'll rewrite a comment like 6-7 times before I post it. You know, and I'll look up facts and things like that. And I want to start putting my energy into the guys who need it most. So people that are really in and they really want help and they're in difficult situations, or they see opportunities and they really want to change, right? So like I don't waste my energy on somebody, because I mean I'm sure that some of the comments that I took an hour to write never even got read. You know what I mean? Like, some people just,
it's possible. Yeah, sure.
Oh, of course, on YouTube, it's just like, you know, people just, it's slam bam, hit and run, you know, like someone will a negative comment and leave, and I'll sit there and I'll really think about it, and self-analysis, and I'll comment. And I realize like at this point now that it's getting like up to a lot. We got almost 6,000 subscribers. There's 11,000 comments on YouTube now.
Wow.
On the Ronin Man channel. Yeah. So I want to take like the guys who really care, the guys who really want to go deep, and I want to help those guys. And less of the fly by night, like people just stopping by, all kinds of people find the videos now. They're not just people from MGTOW community. It's women, it's men, it's people that don't never even heard of MGTOW. They're just like watching something on Japan or whatever, And so I want to like, those guys are not interested in anything that we're doing. And so I don't want to like, but it's also taking responsibility. And it's like something I kind of would, part of me would rather just make free stuff and just throw it out there. And like, I really enjoy it, But the other side of me says, wait a second. One, I got to do it for myself. Two, I got to do it for the people that are involved. And three, for the people that are watching on the sidelines, is to know that there is more. I have a lot to give. I have a deep, deep fucking well of experience. Like I'm not even putting my good stuff doesn't even go on YouTube. It goes when me and you were talking on our own,
Yeah.
Privately, right? That's when we go deep and we like, it's like you got the stethoscope on the safe and you're listening, click, 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 click. You're trying to unlock the secrets to something, right? That happens off camera.
Well, hopefully what we're teaching is that the importance of friendship and longevity. Because you can look back at the whole history and say, oh, you did this and this would happen. You can. It's not just little band-aids. You can look at the whole picture, right?
Absolutely. That would be super cool too. Is if guys joined with a friend, because two people together that understand the same concepts can go a lot farther than one. And they can also bring in another guy to their group, another who thinks the same way and feels the same way, and
it's trust. It's also letting people in. Like, who do you let in?
Right.
Those kinds of issues. Who do you talk to? A lot of guys just bury stuff, like my dad. I think he buried a whole bunch of stuff, and we call that compromise,
Don't you wish he could be listening to this right now and just call you, and just tell you everything? It's like just be able to understand that it was something he couldn't see, right? In his life, he couldn't see it,
Obviously, because it wasn't who he was,
Right. Like if he could tell you, I guess you got to tell yourself, look at his life and say, what would he have told me? He would have said, Aaron, do this, do that. He would have told you something, and part of it is like in life, like we don't always get the opportunity. We have to sometimes we have to tell ourselves, like, what would this person have done if this would have happened? What would have been the message to me? So I can get that message because probably what he would have said, Yeah,
it's situational, right? In front of people, you say one thing, and other people you say another, right? That's another thing too. We're different in front of different people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. That's just the way we are too. We got to realize that as human beings, we're different in front of different people. We act different around our siblings. We act different around employers. We act differently, just you and me, in front of others and on our own.
Sure.
Yeah. But this is deep stuff, these are all deep things, and maybe we haven't got to the bottom of this whole thing that we're talking about right now was life, death, and revenge. Yeah. But never assume that everything's nobody can do that, Never. Guys are weak in this area. Guys are very weak in this.
Well, guys have very weak, and this is partly why you see so many guys that commit suicide, is because they have 80% of suicide worldwide is men. 80%. And the reason why is when push comes to shove, guys don't have the people around them to deal with the difficult things in life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a tragedy. 80% of suicide is men. I mean, this is really serious. This is like total failure. This is like the Cavs losing by 60 or something, you know? This is not like we lost on the final 3-pointer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like guys are really losing and they have to like say, okay, what do I need to do? Well, getting a bigger truck doesn't do it. Getting a beer doesn't do it. Getting a cigar does not fix it. And traveling doesn't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And getting a better job doesn't fix it. It's a network. It's a network of friends that you can discuss and you can trust and you can communicate with and you have a level of intimacy and understanding that is already pre-set up. So when something does happen,
you don't snap, you don't fall apart.
Yeah, you just blow it off. You just blow it off.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I just said one situation that these guys don't know, but when you were in Shanghai, right?
Yeah.
And then we had that big blow up, right? When you split, and the other guy, the Japanese guy, was like, "Oh my God, that guy hates you." And I said to him, and there was all the guys we know were standing around. I said, "It's not a big deal." I said, he'll be back. We'll fix it up. It's fine. And they were like, they thought I was out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because you were super upset,
Yeah.
But the thing is, I knew that there was a lot deeper than that situation. I knew that there was a lot more, and I was not surprised. In fact, I expected that we were going to be friends again.
Yeah.
Even at a deeper level, because I learned a lot about you through that. Because I realized this guy, on his way out, he does not scorched earth policy. A lot of people, when they get screwed over, or they feel like they got screwed over. Yeah. They're scorched earth. They'll fuck you over. They'll do stuff. And like you just like said, I'm not happy. This sucks. I'm out of here. Yeah. And the thing is that made me realize, oh, this guy is like awesome. Like, cause I knew the whole thing, I know I had definitely faults in the whole thing. And I was like, fuck,
Well, it was that's why they call it a cooling off period.
Yeah, and I wasn't surprised. I knew it. I told those guys, and they didn't believe me. Like, they definitely didn't believe me. Nobody believed me, by the way. They were like, "No, you're out of your mind."
That's funny,
I never told you that before, but that was what happened.
But it's funny. It's good, and it's the truth.
And I knew it because of everything we had gone through before.
Yeah. You don't just throw that in the garbage can.
And the things that we knew about each other too. It wasn't just the things we went through. It's the things we knew about each other. It's like, so I think that's the thing is for guys is you need to get to the point where you're not perfect. You can be, make major mistakes.
And also just have that situation where you have to break up the friendship, but know that the door will always be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, when you have a deep relationship with another person, like it is always there, even if it never gets rekindled again. Like, let's say that somebody passes away or somebody moves, loses contact. That experience is always there, and that's what I realized with my friend I talked about in the postmodern episode. Is my friend that was his family is like basically totally different viewpoints on life, and he basically said he didn't want to be my friend again. And I realized at some point that I was feeling very sad, but I realized at some point that the experiences we have in fourth grade, in fifth and sixth grade, in junior high, sometimes we had the girls in the car, we stole a car together. And all the things, the crazy things going to Mexico, and all the experiences of like dealing with my dad, was an alcoholic, and talking to him, all those experiences that we had are still there. Yeah. Even if he passed away, even if I passed, the experiences we had are there, and so it's they can't be taken away. Like they literally can't be taken away. He could come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to take this away." I'd be like,
I want him back.
How would you do that?
Yeah, I want him back. You don't deserve those experiences. Yeah,
exactly. Like those lessons were all learned and incorporated into who I am today. And also I learned a lot, just generally things from him too, about how to be a friend or how to, just all kinds of stuff I learned from him,
Mm-hmm.
And his family, his
Yeah.
parents. So, I mean, I learned to play soccer, I learned to be a good soccer player from him, like I can't take that away. I can't go, that doesn't disappear,
It's not
Yeah.
like jewelry or something. You give it back or whatever after
Yeah.
you're divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's, I think the thing is that you win when you think this way about life as a guy. You win even if you lose, it still goes with you.
Right. Yeah.
Everything goes with you. And the things that you have, the unseen strengths that you have, and experience you have, everybody else feels it and knows it. Like I'm sure that all your brothers know that you are a certain type of person now.
Oh
They
yeah.
watch you like a hawk,
Mm-hmm.
And if you would have been, let's say you were just like crazy at the funeral, talking crap, you just took some girl with a short skirt, and you're like kissing her at the funeral. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you were just an idiot, then that would be the relationship you had with your brothers probably for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I'd be painted with that brush for a long time.
Yeah, but instead they saw the real you. They saw who you are as a man at your age now.
Mm-hmm.
What's your age now?
I'm 49.
Yeah, 49. They saw you at 49. They saw who you are. And now they know when things come up, they know they can trust you.
Yeah. They know I'm there. Yeah.
Is it?
They know I'm there. They know I can be there.
Right, right.
You know,
All right.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Showing up and following through with what you're going to say.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Because when we're kids, when we're young, we often are not there, right?
Yeah.
We kind of don't have that strength that you get when you're older, right? But other guys never get that strength. They actually become the opposite, less reliable, more clueless, and more less trustworthy, and even like unsure of themselves and confused. Like that happens, and that's what these opportunities are, is to see where somebody's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there was a famous battle in Korea in the Korean War, where the top guy of his troop was this super famous, like he had done very well in previous battles, and he had been very reliable. But then when all the North Koreans and the Chinese came up this one valley, the guy had lost it. Like he was this great leader before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of the battle, but it was like he just had lost it. Like he didn't even show up. Like he was like mentally not there.
He fell apart. Yeah.
He just, something happened. Nobody knows what happened, but he wasn't there. And so the troop fought it out against incredible odds, despite the fact that their leader was completely not there. Like just, who knows, probably some battle situation had caused him to lose it. And he had been a great soldier, so that's the other thing, is that people have a right to see where you're at now, to know who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to be a good guy before. Who are you now?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're looking at, And I think you can't rely on past glory with this kind of stuff.
No, you're right. Yeah.
It's all about growing and being the man you want to be now, given what you've gone through. And the ante's always upped, because dealing with your dad's funeral is much more difficult than dealing with some dumb thing when you were a kid, right?
Oh, it blew me away. Like my brother had to do the eulogy, right?
Right.
And he practiced it the night before with me, and I was sort of joking around with him. I said, you're pretty good at copy pasting and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And
right.
Yeah, and he's a pretty serious guy, but he sort of understands my humor, and
yeah.
And then wasn't that a good thing to say? Then the next day when he had to do it,
Yeah.
He was choking up so much, right? And then afterwards he says, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And this guy's a high-powered, flying all over the world, doing business deals,
Wow.
dealing with real high-level people, like governments and things like that. It's the hardest thing he had to do in his life.
Whew, that is it. That's what it's about, man. You have everything you need to rise to every challenge in life. And that's the thing. We all have to rise up to new challenges. I got new challenges right now. That's why I'm releasing this product. Seriously, that's why I'm doing it. I got new challenges and I can see my own weaknesses and I can see what I can fix.
Yeah, I gave you a whole bunch.
And I know you professionally are going through some major stuff. And, I'm really interested to see how that turns out, because I think the old John and the new John is going to be a different person.
It's going to be Big Bad John.
Yeah. Yeah. Go get it, man. Go get it. The old John is gone now, especially when these kind of moments in life, you realize that you're turning the page and now you have you can give yourself the right to be, you know what I mean?
I could let the old John die.
Yeah.
In parts. Yeah.
Yeah. The boy must die. Do you know The Boy Must Die?
No.
It's basically the cry of, I think it's some tribe in Africa. It's basically when, it's the ceremony that the boy goes through. Like, he thinks he's going to die. They start stomping him and everything, and he thinks he's going to die. And then because the boy must die,
Yeah.
And I think it's more than once in our life, the boy must die. You must move on to the next stage. And
or we're Peter Pan forever.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. All right, John. Well, that was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. And thank you very much for sharing that very, very freaking personal stuff, man. I'm glad that it's just hearing you now, it like makes me feel happy, that you got through it,
I did. Yeah. You did. I did on many levels. Yeah. And there's definitely going to be an update to this probably from 3 months from now,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Well, good luck tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow on that.
Justice will be served. I promise you. I promise you.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
Okay. Take it easy.
You have a great day, man. And everybody else listening, you guys too. I hope that, hope this has been interesting and helpful, because for me, it has been. So no doubt about that. All right, guys. Take it easy. And thank you very much, John. Have a great day up there. And I'm glad you made it through, and have a great rest of your trip, man.
Okay. You too. Have a good day.
I will. Okay.